money, the last person that you or I want to be is somebody who rapidly gains financially, and then that money burns a hole right through your pocket. So now you've gone out to buy a $3,000 handbag, but you only got $37 left in the wallet. No, ma'am. Approaching wealthy girl era is so exciting. Like, this is a new level, right? A level that you have never experienced with your finances. This is a moment where you're gonna be able to start affording yourself different luxuries that you've never gotten to do before. Now, keep in mind, I'm not just talking about luxuries where we're going out and buying designer items. Okay, luxury is so much more than that. For instance, with your maintenance routine. Right now, I'm a DIY girl because I have to be a DIY girl. I have always done my hair. I've always done my makeup. I've always tried to do things that I can do at home by myself without having to pay somebody. Well, one of those luxuries in wealthy girl era is maybe you don't have to pick and choose. Maybe you can go get lash extensions and get a pedicure and get your nails done and get your hair done and go have a massage and go to Pilates class. Like, those are luxuries within themselves. So again, not talking about just designer, but you're gonna be able to start doing a lot of different luxuries that you've never done. However, y'all know it wouldn't be a video unless I was gonna add a but statement. But let's remember that wealth starts in the mind first, you guys. This is so very important. So you might not physically have that money in your hand right now. However, you can prepare and you can create habits and act as if that money is in your hand right now. That way, when you actually do get it, you're not tempted to go out and blow your money on a bunch of stupid stuff, and you can actually maintain and continue in your wealthy girl era. Welcome back, my loves. Let's get into a little bit of a financial talk today. I have never done a finance talk on my platform, but y'all already know we are growing in a lot of different ways, and obviously finances is going to be one of them. In full transparency with you guys, I have struggled to have good financial habits over the years, and that is why it is imperative right now that I actually start implementing a lot of these habits myself in my routine, because I feel wealthy girl era coming for me. I don't know if you can speak the same for yourself, but baby, wealthy girl era is coming for me. There are a lot of things coming my way, and I feel it, and I just want to make sure that I am prepared all the way. So let's jump into some financial habits that you can start implementing right now. These are things that you can do as of this moment. You do not have to wait. I have also implemented these, and they have helped me to start getting on a good foot when it comes to finances. Habit number one, and keep in mind, these are in no particular order, but this one here, this is number one for me, and it is to stop spending your money for other people. When you spend your money for other people, you are creating unnecessary debt that did not have to be there. You could have completely avoided that. Just to give you a little bit of backstory, when I started as a content creator a couple of years ago, especially when I started on Instagram, I wanted to be a style girly. Well, I was spending money trying to buy all of these outfits, trying to show up on Instagram, when really and truly I did not have the money to do so. And this caused a lot of issues with me and my husband. This caused a lot of arguments like, hey, okay, reel it on in. We don't spend money like that. But I was buying like $100 and $200 just single outfits just to go out, create content in, and take pictures, and that was it. So this caused a lot of strain financially on me because I was making stupid decisions trying to show up and create outfit looks for other people. This is something that you want to stop immediately. Now, if you are a content creator and you are a style girly, of course, you're gonna spend money on that. I do makeup content. I'm going to spend money on makeup. But I'm not gonna go out and spend $200 and $300 at a time when I know that that might not be feasible for me. I'm going to do it in lighter sections. That way I can pull what I need together, but I don't have to spend it all at one time. Now I search clearance racks, okay? I searched clearance racks. This really cute jumpsuit number that you see right here, it wasn't on clearance, but it was $20. So I'm learning that everything that I buy does not have to be super expensive. I can put a look together and it still be super cute, still be super fun, and I can still show up in my content the way that I want to. If you remember a couple of years ago, Tiffany Haddish was almost scolded for wearing this Alexander McQueen gown, and she wore it several times over, and people were like, you have money now, you should not be wearing the same dress, why do you keep wearing it, blah blah blah. And I remember reading some of the articles back then that were coming out, and she's like, look, this is my money. This is my money. I worked for this money. And on top of that, this dress was really expensive, so I'm going to get my money's worth. So that is the kind of attitude that you want to have when you're looking at your finances. You need to do what works best for you. You cannot do what works best for somebody else or what you think will please somebody else. It has nothing to do with them. This is solely on you. So moving on to habit number 2, this is something that I had to create for myself because I was terrible at saving money. But number 2 is going to be to treat your savings account like a bill or treat it like a credit card. You're going to pay your credit card every single month on time. Why? Because you want to build that credit score. Again, we're preparing for wealthy girl era. Wealthy girl era, the credit scores are high, okay? We need to prepare for that. So with your savings account, you also want to make sure that you are preparing yourself by having your emergency fund, by having just that cash flow that's sitting there that way, not cash flow, but having that cash readily available for things that happen that we cannot control. You bust a tire, that's something you cannot control. If you own a home and your water heater is shot, that's something you cannot control. So you always want to make sure that you are saving something that is going to have just that cushion there for whenever you need it, because again, we don't know when things might arise and we want to be prepared. And on top of that, for my people who work a 9 to 5, you work 40 hours a week. If you're a content creator, I know you're probably working anywhere from 40 to 60 because again, it's a lot of work that gets put in to create a video, edit it, show up on short form. It's a lot. So we're talking 40 to 60 hours here. You did not work 40 to 60 hours a week to give all of your money away to a bill, to here, to there. You have to pay yourself first. You have worked all of this time. Pay yourself and treat yourself as if you are a bill as well. Now, this is something that you have to come up with yourself. Everybody cannot do 10%. I know 10% is what most people do, or for some, do whatever works for you. Even if you can only save $20 starting off until you get yourself accustomed to putting that money away and not touching it. Whatever works for you, just set something in place. That way you can create that habit and build on it. Habit number 3 is we are going to invest, or we're going to start learning about investing. We want to diversify our portfolio. As we gain financially, we want to start spreading that money around so that way at some point your money can work for you and you don't have to work for it. It can just be an automated system, if you will. You want to start learning about these things now in preparation for your wealthy girl era. Start reading, start getting materials that you can start studying. That way you're prepared so that when you do have that money that comes in and you can make those larger purchases or do some investing, you already know what you want to invest in. Habit number 4 is actually something that my dad gave me, and that is to spend your money once. Bigger purchases like bedroom furniture, for example, living room furniture, appliances for your kitchen. You want to make sure that you are buying the best at one time. That way you don't find yourself 2-3 years down the line trying to replace that same furniture or appliances over and over and over again. We want to invest in things that are going to last. My bedroom furniture, I bought it, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. It's about 4 years ago. Here soon, I'm going to want to switch it out because honestly, this is not my style anymore. I'm more in the minimalism type feel with blacks, whites, woods. That's more my style. But that just because my style has changed doesn't mean that I'm just going to automatically swap out my bedroom furniture. But what I want you guys to understand is if you make the investment one time, right then and there, you won't have to find yourself 2-3 years later attempting to switch out all of the same stuff because maybe it broke down on you, maybe it was cheap and you have to replace it. That is what I'm speaking of. So, sweetheart, that means that living room furniture that you want, that couch that costs $2,500 and you know that it's gonna last long because you've read the reviews, and you only have $1,200 right now, so you're looking at a different couch, stop yourself. Just wait a little longer. Wait until you have the $2,500 or whatever I just said. Did I say $2,000 or did I say $2,500? I'm pretty sure I said $2,500. So wait until you have the $2,500, okay? Don't just spend the $1,200. Stack it up a little bit more. Invest in the $2,500 couch. Get that. And then that way you don't have to replace it a couple of years later. So habit number 5 is going to be to give yourself an allowance. And this is an overall budgeting habit that you want to create. When you get paid, the first thing that you should not be doing is going to Starbucks and spending $25 in the morning before you have even sat and done your bills for the day. This was something that I used to do, and this was something that I had to stop. Because what we don't realize is when we start spending $25 here, $10 here, $5 here, we think that, oh, it's just a small amount, but it adds up. And especially if you're somebody who is paid bi-weekly, you have to do your budgeting to where that money is going to last you until that next payday. So make sure that you give yourself that time to sit down and actually budget your money, and then set aside an amount, an allowance amount, that you can do whatever you want with that allowance amount. If you want to take that allowance and go to Starbucks, go to Starbucks. If you've maybe been eyeing this purse that you want and it's within your allowance amount, buy that purse, but just make sure that you're not spending money willy-nilly before you have had a time to sit down and actually budget out and see what money you have available and what you need to pay out before you actually even give yourself that allowance. Which brings me into the number 6 habit. Number 6 on the list is you're going to find a comfortable monthly spending amount. Now, the old school rule of thumb used to be you want to have 30% as your household bill. So that would include your rent, that would include your utilities, and then whatever is separate after that, you can do maybe 10% in savings and maybe 10 to 15% in spending money. 30% honestly just does not work anymore. That was something that came out, I want to say in like 1960 something. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a pretty old rule. And we already see, baby, we already see the economy and how things have gone up. Because you don't even want to know my grocery bill, especially for 5 people and 4 of them being men, because my 11-year-old eats like a man. So, but what I'm saying is 30% just is not feasible anymore for some people. So this is where you are going to have to look at your bills and see what amount works best for you. Maybe you have to spend 60% on your monthly bills or, you know, utilities, things like that. Maybe you have to spend 75%. But I can say if you're spending 80% or more on your household bills collectively, you may want to sit and think about what you can start eliminating. Maybe you've got some credit card bills that have lower balances that you can try to knock off. Maybe you've got a secure loan or something like that that has maybe $2,000-$3,000. Okay, well, sit down and figure out a way to clear that $2,000-$3,000, because you don't want to stretch yourself on your regular monthly bills. Number 7 habit, and honestly, if I had to put them in order, this would be my number 2. This is going to be to keep your finances under wraps. Become extremely close-mouthed, okay? Hit one of those numbers. You are going to become extremely quiet about your finances. I am somebody who just naturally I overshare. And it has been something that I've really been trying to work on over the last few years, but I overshare willingly in a lot of areas, and I have to control that, especially when it comes to my finances. Now, I have very close sisters, you guys, and they don't judge. They don't, sometimes I'm just freely talking and a number might slip out. They don't say anything. But I have to realize that, especially because I'm married, this is something that needs to stay within myself and my husband. So regardless of if you're married or single or dating or whatever, when it comes to your finances, that is between you or you and whatever other party is involved with making sure that that household is paid and ran and all of that good stuff. You don't want to start sharing financial information with outside people, because it just, first of all, it's very personal. Everybody does not make the same. Everybody cannot do the same things in life. And this just creates some, what's the word I'm looking for? This creates some privacy. And privacy is important when you get to be a certain age. You don't want to overshare your financial information. Keep that under wraps and keep that very private and in your household and your household alone. Habit number 8 is you are going to have to realize that you cannot always have your wants. There are going to be times where you have to save money ahead of time in order to get the things that you want. My husband is a shoe collector. He loves collecting shoes. Now, some of his shoes or most of his shoes cost well over $200. If he wants to buy those shoes, I always tell him, hey, look, maybe 2-3 months in advance Start putting away money specifically for that. Now, granted, yes, he could take one paycheck and pay for those shoes if he wanted to, but why not prepare yourself for your wants ahead of time? There's always going to be new clothes. There's always going to be new shoes. There's always going to be new purses. There's always going to be a new restaurant to try. So I want you guys to understand that there's always going to be something new on the list that you want. And your wants are not always going to be... You're not going to always be able to get the wants when you want them. Habit number 9 on the list is weekly check-ins. This is the time that me and my husband sit down, we do our budgeting for the week, we figure out those allowances that we want to put in place, and then that is it until the following week. Now, if you are somebody who likes to keep a little more eyes on your bank accounts or whatever, sit down more. If you need to do 2 or 3 times a week, do 2 or 3 times a week. You don't have to become obsessive and look at it every single day. This is why you want to have a dedicated time per week. If you need to do an hour or 2, block that time off on your schedule each week. That way you can make sure that you have plenty of time to look at the bills that are due and just kind of keep your life organized when it comes to your finances. Habit 10 that we want to start creating on our financial habits list to prepare for Wealthy Girl Era is we want to start surrounding ourselves with people who actually want to become financially smarter as well. We all know you are who you hang around, and we want to hang around people who, again, want to become financially smarter. Maybe they know more about investing than you do, and they can, you guys can have a sit down lunch, brunch, or something like that, and they can share what they've learned about investing. Maybe you've been learning about life insurance policies and the differences between whole life and term life, and you want to share that with them so that they can know that information. So this is important because now you can start having conversations more than, oh girl, let me tell you about what the kids did this week. Now you guys can have conversations about actually elevating in life, elevating in those finances, and really growing on both sides. Habit 11 is not necessarily a habit, but this is something that you want to make yourself aware of, and that is to join financial institutions that you can build a long-standing history with. For someone like myself, I am an entrepreneur. I have an LLC, and I want to make sure that whatever accounts or wherever my accounts are, I want to make sure that I can actually grow with that financial institution. Maybe there's a point in time where I will ask for a business loan, and I want to make sure that I have that history there with them. Once you build that longevity, it just makes them more open to giving you those loans. I actually worked in financial institutions for 7 years. So I know about banking, the personal loan, just building that relationship. You want to make sure that this is somewhere that you can, again, build some rapport and build some longevity with for your future opportunities and things that you may need. And last on my list today, which is habit number 12, for my people who are entrepreneurs, you want to make sure that business paperwork is in check. I actually need to make sure mine is in check now that I'm speaking about it. But these are just things that you want to start making sure that you are keeping track of regularly. You don't want to get to a point where you enter Wealthy Girl Era and then you look up and you get a letter from the state or whatever saying, oh, you owe X amount of money because your business paperwork is not in line. So create a regular habit. I don't know if you want to check maybe every 6 months, once a year. Whatever you need to do, make sure that you are checking these types of things, making sure all of your paperwork is in line so that you can avoid running into a situation down the line when you have fully entered your Wealthy Girl Era and people are trying to collect on some money, okay? So I really hope that you guys enjoyed these tips today. Again, these are things that I've actually done in my life. I'm not perfect and I am still growing in a lot of areas, but I wanted to share these habits with you guys because maybe you can find them useful, and maybe you're somebody who is also preparing for that Wealthy Girl Era as well, and you want to make sure that you are creating all of the right habits right now so that you can thrive when you get there. So again, I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you drop a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think. Tell me if we want to talk about more financial topics. I never thought, again, that I would have these kind of videos, but because we are fully into just elevating in life completely, we have to elevate the finances as well. So let me know if we want to do maybe some deep dives on investments, life insurance policies, or whatever. Let's talk about it. So until next time, bye.